this boss? I think it is.
And speaking of skinny as a rail.
Woof.
Let
me just say the Alucard vibes are not lost on me, and yes, I do appreciate them fivefold because they're on Sakuya.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I say that, but then again, we have Reimu, who's just like straight up like the most Belmont to ever not be a Belmont.
I can't look at her the same way again after watching JoJo.
Who, Reimu? How come?
Not Reimu, Sakuya.
Oh, right.
The memes ruined both that aspect of Toho and everything about JoJo.
I can't say I really blame you at all for that one.
Sakuya fans have 3 jokes and that's it. Breast pads, wanting to fuck Vermilia, and the world. And that's it.
Yep.
They don't have any other
Pretty
They don't have any other material, and it's been like that for like at least 16 years.
Oh my god, I think Death Battle did do a fucking thing between Dio and Saki, and I think about it. Oh god, just giving myself a fucking aneurysm.
They did back in like 2014, but it was...
Yeah, it was one of their Quake battles, I think.
Yeah, it was one of the sprite-based ones. It was actually pretty alright, because they were using Dio sprite from Heritage for the Future, and they were using Sakuya sprite from Scarlet Weather Rhapsody.
Yeah. Wow, she didn't even go to her phase 2 or anything. Holy crap.
They don't get phase 2s in this game, with one exception. All the shit you remember that was really cool and grandiose was from the second game. Again, this game
right.
has all of its roots in being a freeware game, which is to say it has 0 production value whatsoever. And I'm going to get ahead of the curve right now on this because you're going to see it in 30 minutes anyways. This game ends on an anticlimax.
I remember something about that, yeah.
This game ends on a fake out. It's again for free, so you can't complain too hard, but you know, with the advent...
It is a Toho freeware game, so they do like their jokes.
With the advent of a second game that did give a proper Dracula fight with like the 18 forms, and this being a remaster, I think they could have fixed that element of it.
I did play a little bit of the second game, but the difficulties curve actually is way up from this game. It actually was so much I don't believe it was a combination of me not having the time and like curve being so high that I actually did not beat even like the second level of the game. It's a bit up there, but we'll get to that when we get to that later on.
A remaster of the second game has not been announced yet, but will probably be coming sometime early next year if I had to place my bets.
By the way, I'd like to mention this is in fact the most generous whip hitbox I've seen in the Castlevania game because of the hip. You can probably see it. The hitbox being right above Reimu's head is so much fucking bigger than I've ever seen it in any Castlevania game. Unless someone in the comments wants to prove me wrong and point to a game where it's got a bigger hitbox or just not as fat. Yeah, usually it's a little bit on the smaller side and usually just sticks right in front of your given Belmont. Only one I can think of that might rival it is maybe Simon's level 3 whip in the 4th game, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or maybe the upgrades that, what the hell was his name? Gets in Bloodlines.
True. Oh yeah, fuck it. Well, if we're not counting the Alucard spear in Bloodlines, yeah, probably.
Well, no, you get upgrades also for the Vampire Killer as well.
Right. God, I actually...
That game...
I haven't put real time into Bloodlines because I never had access to it. I always just think if there's the farting noises the game always has because of the Genesis.
That game is available on the collection that I have on PS4 and Switch. It's also on the Genesis Online that's also on the Switch, so you have ways of playing it if you wanted to.
True. I want to say these marionette enemies are also in Symphony of the Night. If you're ever watching something, expect a lot more references to be from Symphony than other games because, well, biggest game, obviously, and also just the most expansive level design to just pull things from.
Oh, this game...
Also because the prior games are a little bit bad by comparison, unfortunately.
Oh, these games.
I'll say it.
These games do a lot of subtle references, both to other Toho and to various Castlevania. Did you catch that fairy a minute ago that was holding a lance? That one there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's literally they're literally just Eric Lecard from Castlevania Bloodlines. They do the upward spear and the downward spear that he can do in that game.
That shit is so nuts, God.
Which is annoying because these are some of the most annoying enemies to fight in a later stage, but not this one.
Yeah, true.
Because there's going to come a part in a later stage where characters are on ledges you can't reach, or you're walking on a higher plane of elevation, but you can't get to them beneath you. But because they can do the Alucard spear, they can hit you, but you can't hit them, like they did with that animation there.
Yeah, those are the instances where you just want to avoid enemies more so than engage them. I have sort of skewed spotty experiences with the classic 2D Castlevania games. Usually in those instances, you more so just want to treat the enemies as more obstacles that aren't worth dealing with versus like ones you do want to engage with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real crapshoot sometimes, and this stage is kind of annoying, but not very because of those fucking marionettes. Those things are annoying, and sort of like the red zombies, or the red skeletons, they do not leave you the fuck alone.
It was the red skeletons for Pacific Night, that's right. I was gonna say something. Fuck, alright, completely lost it. Right, sub-weapons. If you guys are wondering anything about sub-weapons for this game, you kinda have them. It's more so... it's a lot more limited in this game. You do have more in the next game, but basically, with Reimu, the one sub-weapon she has, I remember off the top of my head, is being able to toss out, like, little red tags. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's her flying attack. Because you can't... For some reason, you can't toss your whip when you're flying. You just shoot out regular spell tags like you're playing a Toho game. Your actual sub-weapons are your partner characters, a la Castlevania 3. You look up there in the corner, you'll see that I have Marisa and I have Cherno. You only get one more in the entire game. The only good one is Marisa. It's the only one you'll ever see me use. Because in this game, you only get 3. In the next game, you get like 6. Yep. So there's a lot more variance in the next game. The next game is better by leagues and bounds, even in its original release.
Yeah.
Alice is from Toho 5/7, so she shouldn't be here because she wasn't in Toho 6. But they needed to toss in some fan service, I guess.
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, 5 is before this, so it's cool. I don't remember Reimu being strictly a vampire killer either with the whips, so it's cool in my book, whatever.
Is there a marionette puppeteer boss in Symphony of the Night? Or any of them?
Give me a minute.
A puppet master? The nature of...
Not in the strictest sense, I don't think.
The nature of Marisa and Alice's relationship is open to interpretation. It's mostly shippy. I like it better in this game because in this game the two of them actually actively hate each other, and that's funny.
Yeah.
Also, tired old joke from 2003 that Alice is a loser that has no friends. Yeah. I'm not going to give this game too much shit for coming out in 2009, where memes were probably at their peak. The ancient memes were probably at their peak, but...
Where it was unironically funny to just shout out catchy phrases, yeah. Now, oh fuck, I actually remember my point. So, actually, I'm gonna say the red tags are actually fucking busted. The reason being is because if you're flying with them and you get behind someone, if you hit a boss, they do not have invincibility frames after you attack them. And you've probably seen how fast you can shoot out the tags with Reimu here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're murder weapons.
But at the same time, they also take up units of your energy meter, and also they're not that individually powerful. So, it's a risk-reward weapon.
If you save your energy and you don't do anything else with them, like I see you're doing, you're mostly focusing on the whip, which is a valid gameplay style in itself. Yeah, you don't really have to worry too much. By the way, you can't angle the whip in this game, I don't think, right? I don't believe you can.
No, it's just a straight shot. She's not for Era Simon. She's just Richter. Because she has
It's a shame, because there have been other Belmonts that can angle the whip. I want to say... fuck, who was it? There's another Belmont that can angle the whip diagonally down forward in front of themselves, but I don't remember who the fuck it was. It might have been Julius for all I know.
Hold that thought for just a minute. The characters actually comment on this stage, and that's a reason for that. This is the most difficult stage in the entire game, but not the most difficult boss. So this game has the most bullshit, as you can already see.
Oh, well, it's a clock tower, of course.
No, it's not.
Nah, that tracks.
No, we're not at the clock tower yet. This is the arena. This is the Colosseum. Which also means this is the torture chamber.
But can I get my shield rod? Oh god, I'm the only one who gets that.
What game?
Symphony.
Oh. Yeah, no, I never finished Symphony. Yeah, see,
fair.
that's what I mean. It took like 6 tags to kill one regular enemy.
Yeah, that's a trick. So individually, they aren't really that weak, but the DPS you get for them, because of the high fire rate, is so monumental. It really depends. I think it's a good boss killer, but again, usually the way you want to just play in this game just seems to be flitting around, hitting people with the whip. Or just not engaging. That's also always an option, too.
See, this is what I mean. There's a guy on uneven terrain blocking a staircase with a very limited range that I could get through. And he's, yeah. This is where they start...
Castlevania, baby.
This is where they start throwing the bullshit in. None of the other actual stages afterwards are as hard as this, funny enough.
Yeah, okay, so this is definitely the most traditional Castlevania level design, bar none. Do you remember Johnny's old review of Castlevania 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking stairs are the worst thing to deal with ever, especially since there wasn't really... Okay. Way back in ye olden days, obviously some of you probably know this, video games were not hard to beat whatsoever in terms of length, runtime. That being said, they padded the hell out of them by making them super fucking difficult, because that was just kind of the way of things back in the day. And in the ancient times of the 90s and 80s,
if you knew what you were doing, a game would run you no more than 3 hours tops if it was a long game. But because you didn't know the way of things, that was what caused a game to last you 10 hours.
Pretty much. So, as a result, a lot of games back in the day were often fairly indulgent in bullshit level design, just literally tossing everything in the kitchen sink in your direction. So, yeah, that's why you get shit like this with trying to play footsies with a skeleton on a fucking staircase. When you're unable to hit him, you have to bait him into coming up the stairs yourself.
That's just the thing, though, is that he will never rise to your height so you can actually hit him. It deliberately stops short, so you have to use a sub-weapon or you have to jump for him.
I don't imagine it does, but... So... I want to say that Richter's slide did have a hitbox attached to it, so you could use it there. I wouldn't put money on Reimu's having a hitbox attached to it, though, so it's hard to say if that would be a viable strategy here, per se. It definitely wants you to more utilize... Oh my fucking god.
Reimu's does not, because a couple of...
more flashbacks.
Reimu's does not, because I used it a couple of rooms ago to try to get past a red armor skeleton on stairs, and it just... I got past it, but I took like 2 hits in the process. Also,
you probably remember that fucking werewolf from the beginning of Rondo of Blood.
Oh yes, I do.
It is a good way to catch people unawares that are new to the game. God, is it a test of your metal?
Yeah, like that, doing the fucking Alucard spear thing, the upwards stab.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want you guys to take away what I'm saying right now as I don't know why there's a staircase going to nowhere. I don't want what I'm saying to come across as me not liking the old 2D games. Genuinely, Rondo of Blood is a magical game, especially since the TurboGrafx 16 is just like, god, the aesthetics of that console are nuts sometimes. But like, you don't want to go into like other horror versions like Dracula X, which is the version bought on Super Nintendo, which is actually somehow worse.
Or
Jesus Christ.
Or Castlevania Chronicles.
Or Castlevania Chronicles. I do appreciate Dracula X Chronicles on PSP because it does offer some new challenges, but it's not gratuitous
Yeah.
Oh, okay, instead of his fingers too. Go figure.
It's got claws. Also, if you couldn't tell, I'm not super great at Castlevania, just in case you guys didn't already know that.
This is another frequent boss you get. Not frequent boss, this is another common enemy in Symphony of the Night / Rondo of Blood. I love it. Hey, at least this guy isn't doing a fucking shuriken on you when he's dying. Yet.
My guess was
Actually,
my guess was they probably thought they could get away with it if the game was free. And now that the game isn't, it's been long enough that no one cares.
I will say, though, that for you not being great at Castlevania, you're actually doing pretty good. I would definitely say it. You're catching on to enemy patterns pretty quickly.
I think this was my second or third time playing just the remaster. I played the original a handful of times back in the day.
Yeah, the core of a lot of enemies back in the day was you want to use the slide in order to space and then whip punish with the whip. That's usually the way you want to go in these kinds of games. And also hoping you can hit multiples at once with the whip too.
Yeah.
So no, you're actually doing pretty good for all things considered. I'm pretty sure you could have put a pretty good dent in Rondo of Blood if you were to pick up it again at some point.
Probably.
Although I will say Rondo's an old game, a 60-bit game, so it's got its own issues with live systems and all. Ugh.
I really just want to get the chance to play Symphony as Richter. Not that...
You can do that. Or wait, I think you can do that as soon as they start the game up, but I don't remember offhand. I think you might need to complete the game first.
Yeah, you can do it after you beat the game at least once and have a save file on your system. I just haven't beat Symphony of the Night is the thing.
So, this is going to sound funny, and a lot of veteran players might actually disagree with me. I actually do think that Richter is harder than Alucard.
I mean, I would
just on the merit that you can't heal.
I mean, I would assume so. Alucard has like 8 million weapons, and Richter only has like 4.
It has a pause menu RPG system.
Yeah.
So, you know, good shit.
Also, you know, it teaches you... Did Konami ever do fighting games? Because, you know, Symphony of the Night...
Nothing substantial I'm thinking of.
Because, you know, Symphony of the Night... Skullgirls! They published Skullgirls back in the day. Because, you know, Symphony of the Night has those fighting game inputs to do all your moves.
Oh, yeah.
Your quarterback forward.
It's a fucking good question, too, because I feel like that's a yes that they've done fighting games, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. I feel like I have to look that up at some point.
They did publish the...
By the way, those motions that Richter has... Alucard has his own set of them, and they're also fun to use because they use his magic system, but you can do them literally at the start of the game, so it's very funny being able to fuck up some bosses that way.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, though, they did end up publishing the initial release of Skullgirls for whatever that's worth.
That is something.
That's a
God, Skullgirls has such a weird sordid history that I don't follow that I know some other people do.
It's gone through like 3 different publishers before going fully indie.
Yeah. I remember this one. This took me a little bit.
This is probably the second or third worst boss in the game.
Hello, goth girl Suika. I'm not minding this design. It's kind of cool.
So fucking... This is the other character from 7, rather 7.5, the very first fighting game that Toho ever had. Suika's a weird character. Also does not look right in this aesthetic.
Very odd. Like, yeah, very weird.
Especially since in the second game, you fight Reimu here because, again, she's Richter, and the second game is Symphony of the Night. And you fight Richter in the Colosseum because he's being mind-controlled or whatever.
You first encounter him in the Colosseum, but you fight different bosses instead. Actually, with Alucard, I want to say that you do actually fight the Minotaur, the Werewolf, and some other enemy all at the same time. But mostly as a way of showing how much better to play Alucard is than old Richter in the prior game.
I just like all of his kit, though. And you know he has really good kit because he was the base for Simon in Ultimate.
Oh yeah,
because Simon is a clone of Richter, not the other way around in Smash Ultimate. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Oh yeah, this.
So I wonder how this. I remember this is difficult, but it's not impossible to work with. You just gotta play a little bit patiently, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, sprite scaling is not done well in this game.
No, not really. Although it's cute, it does remind you of the fact that this is in fact an indie game, pretty much.
This is the first moment where I had to cut in the game, and you can tell because my lives went from like 14.
Oh yeah, you went from like 15 to 6.
Yeah. Because her fucking attacks, they explode, and when they explode, they do big damage.
Yeah, she can be a little bit on the hard side. Trust me, I am aware. She's the first boss that gave me problems too.
Yeah, it's...
Actually, if memory serves, I think it's actually with being here that the game crashed on me too. So now we're approaching uncharted waters for myself as well.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That would be our luck, wouldn't it? This is where I get a game over at my first run, and this is where the game just dies for you.
Yep.
Anyway, Suika joins your party, and she's the last character you get. So, and she's not very good. She has a Mega Man 6 power.
I'm not too familiar with Mega Man 6, so you have to give me context.
I think I use it once or twice in the next stage just to show off that it's there, because I wouldn't ever use it otherwise. She throws us a couple of attacks at the ground that have a lingering hitbox, but they're useless because most of your enemies are flying.
Oh, it's probably supposed to be the holy water then.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. And it's not very good in a game where all the enemies are flying. Or most of them, anyway.